more because he comes with a very, very strong marketing background. He also has a PhD in marketing and branding, which is my dream as well. So I'm very, very excited for today's session, and thank you all for joining us, even people who are joining us on YouTube. Raghav, I'll just repeat a little bit about him. So Raghav is a TEDx speaker. He's the top 100 global CMOs. He is also helping startups, and he has also won an award in Startup Innovation Award in 2018. And he has a mission of building a startup, and also he has managed 2 prime ministers' campaigns. He's an entrepreneur. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's a Forbes top 100 leader, and he's also associated with UN. So I'm looking forward to today's session. And as I said earlier, we have a special giveaway in the end. So stay tuned and enjoy today's session. And I now am going to hand it over to Raghav. Raghav, please go ahead and speak a little bit about the topic. Looking forward to the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Tulika. Thank you so much, Yash, the Empowerment Talks team, and everybody who's been, pulling off this awesome show. I have kind of looked at all the guests that you have got in the past and people who came and spoke. It's a true privilege and honor to be coming and speaking to all of you guys. I hope I'm audible and I'm clear. Great. So what I'm going to talk today is I'll start with a little bit of story of my background on how my journey started, what I did in the past, what worked for me, and what didn't work as an entrepreneur, as a marketing leader, and all of that. And then I would talk a little bit about what does it take to build a phenomenal marketing story or a marketing journey for people to build an unparalleled growth engine. And then I also want to talk a little bit about, if you're a startup, if you are someone who has kind of just started off, spending millions of dollars in marketing is probably not your thing. And I would probably talk about the hacks on how you can do a lot of things free and help your organization grow. And I've seen that Empowerment Talks is a pretty popular show in Dubai, and you have great following there. I would talk a little bit about our experience in working in the UAE market and how startups there can further accelerate. And like Tulika said, we have end of the show, we'll talk about the giveaways and then we'll take it from there. So let me spend 5 or 10 minutes talking about my journey, right? I mean, so this is the most difficult part, because whenever you go and when there is an introduction, right, people hear all the great things. Somebody who has had multiple exits in startups, who has kind of held many leadership roles, worked in Google, and helped few presidential and prime minister campaigns, an investor, author, and all these stuff, right? And this sounds very glamorous, and but what you see is only the tip of the iceberg. What actually goes behind in making this is the real thing, right? And that is where all the pain, all the struggle is involved. So when I talk to entrepreneurs, when I talk to startups, when I talk to them about what it takes to kind of build a brand of your own, become a brand, become an identity, I probably tell them that it takes immense amount of struggle, pain, and then there's nothing called you have arrived, right? There is never a stage where you say, okay, I have done all of this and I have arrived. There is always somebody better than you where you look up to, right? I mean, if I am probably Narayan Murthy, I would say, Bill Gates is better. If I'm Bill Gates, I would say probably, Steve Jobs was better. If I was Steve Jobs, I would probably say someone else is better. So there is always someone to look up to, look forward to. And there's always people who look up to you and people, below you. So the whole journey started, I'd probably touch a little bit about, background and my upbringing. I come from a very humble, lower middle class family. And a northern part of Karnataka, a village where, probably a district where, I did my engineering. And while I was a student, probably last thing that I would do was studies. I would do everything else other than studies. And that kind of also gave me this whole flair of, running your own business or being an entrepreneur, right? Because in today's world, your network is your net worth. It doesn't matter how many, what is your bank balance. It doesn't matter how many patents you have, how many products you have built. All that matters is the kind of network you have, the kind of friends you have, the kind of peer network you have. So as a student, I was always a backbencher, never did great in my academics, and I was always interested in extracurriculars. Life has its own twists and turns. There, when I got to my engineering, my mom had a massive, cardiac situation, and then she told, probably you should now focus on studies, and that's when I started really studying. And then, things went well. Did my engineering. I was selected in the campus for Hewlett Packard HP Invent, and I was hired as a device driver programmer. For people who have joined from India, and especially people who are from engineering background, would know how engineering in India works, right? You just by heart the last 5 6 years of question papers, and then already there. I mean, so getting a distinction or getting a distinction with honors is not like a rocket science. If you have good capacity to memorize, you go ahead and you do it, and then you're set. So I got placed in Hewlett Packard, and then when I was about to kind of, that was like the claim to fame in the early 2000s, right? I mean, getting an IT job, getting a software job. So my whole family, my parents were all in a celebration mode that, we have a kid who has kind of arrived and has done great stuff. I wrote my first program for device driver, which is printers, copiers, and scanners. And the code literally crashed the whole machine. A 300 lines code had like 500 odd, bugs, error messages. So my manager called me and said, probably you are not meant to be a software guy, and he had to fire me from the job in HP. I'm sure you can understand when somebody is fired from a job, it's not easy to take. And I kind of was disheartened because we were just starting to celebrate that we have kind of arrived, and then I lost my job. So at that point, when I lost a job as a software engineer, when I did not become a software engineer, where majority, probably 99% of my batchmates and my classmates, were working for the likes of Wipros, Infosys of the world as software engineer, I felt, I don't know why I kind of failed, right? I mean, I had made all my plans, plan A, plan B, plan C, and yet I failed. I was fired from my job. Um, After doing that, I kind of went ahead and did my MBA, and then I shifted my whole career. I said, I'm good in dealing with people. Why don't I do sales, marketing, and my first job was with Google. And Google is a place where I'm sure you have seen a lot of videos, read Quora answers. It's the place to be employed. So I started working there. It was a phenomenal. I was living my dream life. Great, salary, perks. You work with the best brains in the mind in the world. And then that's when I kind of realized I probably need to get to the next level. I probably need to work on things that are impacting, Google as an organization itself. So I wanted to be part of the search team. And when I went and approached my boss saying, hey, you know what, I want to be part of search team, he said, dude, you need to be from an Ivy League to be part of that team. I mean, if you're from just another B school, probably it is not meant for you. And let me tell you, I didn't go to, any just another B school. I went to one of the top B schools in India, but then it was not enough. So then I had to kind of go back, use the skill that we had of by hearting and memorizing things, and went back and then went and did my management specialization, like a residential program from Harvard in marketing, and then came back and worked in Google. After a certain point, what happens to all of us as human beings, which is very natural, is you start feeling that you have conquered. You feel that you have become an alchemic. You touch and everything turns to gold. And I was no exception. I kind of felt that I'm living a dream life. I'm working in Google, have a management master's degree from Harvard Business School. What else you want? So I thought I'll be a great entrepreneur. I went and I registered a company called HNB Consulting, started a startup, got my business cards done. HNB Consulting founder and CEO Raghav. Um, what I did not know back then was I didn't know that the most important aspect to run a business is to get customers. I was putting my heads down, building a product, building a platform, hired great engineers. We built the whole platform. What we ignored was we ignored that we should have a marketing engine, a sales engine to bring customers. So what that led to was I had zero paying customers. We had already burned significant amount of cash in building the product. So there came a day where I had to call it. I had to call it a day. I had to kind of shut down the business. And then that was second major failure in my life, right? And I was envying everybody that I saw. My friends who were entrepreneurs were successful. They were like having 20 people, 30 people. And here I was, built a product, but didn't even have one paying customer. So that was the second failure. And then things turned around. That's when I kind of was also doing my PhD, where I got an opportunity to work with a politician. He said, "Why don't you convert your whole product?" My product was actually, the product that I built was in social listening. So what social listening means is your product listens into social media and then says, "Hey, you know what? These many people are talking positive. These many people are talking negative, and these many people are talking neutral about your brand." He said, "I am a politician. I am a presidential candidate, and maybe I don't have so much money to pay you right now, but you can use your product, do a whole campaign for me, and if I win, probably we will share whatever wealth." And then I said, instead of shutting down, probably we will go ahead and do this. We kind of signed up, put in our heart and soul in making him win, and it was a phenomenal ride for almost 8 9 months. I had almost hit the rock bottom where I had to kind of literally go pledge some of the gold jewelry that I had at home to raise money to run the payroll. So that was the worst that I had seen, and I thought there is no coming back from here. So then fortunately he turned out to be a winner, and then the product took off. And then I flew down to US. My friends introduced me to companies in Bay Area. They started signing off. So eventually what happened is we signed off one logo after another, and then we didn't even had time to look back. We were it was literally raining cash. And that's when we kind of were on our all-time high. And then the third story after that was, so every time, right, we humans tend to kind of hit a point or hit a ceiling where we feel we have arrived, we are the greatest, and we are doing something that no one else in the world is doing. And I was probably second time in a row in the same feeling or same zone. That's when I met a very interesting editor who said, "I want to cover your story, I want to tell what you do to the world." And then there was Forbes, there was Entrepreneur, there were all these magazines who started putting me on their cover saying, "Hey, meet the man from India who is controlling global politics, meet the man who is running some of the most powerful political campaigns." That's it. So though that was a great branding exercise, it kind of put us in trouble in multiple ways and forms, I'm sure. I mean, I don't want to talk about all of that, but it kind of put us in a spot where it became very hard for us to say no to some of the politicians. And there were situations where people said, "You better run my campaign, otherwise there is no going back on that." So then we had to we were forced to exit that startup, and that exit was a phenomenal exit. The amount that we made, the kind of money we made from that exit was something that I had never dreamt of. So I'll quickly summarize my journey, right? If you look at my journey as a career, it has always been one after the other failures. If somebody asks me, how would you define your life journey? How would you define your career? I would say they're all series of failures that eventually led to something great, right? And my summary or my learning, this is what I spoke even in my TEDx. My learning from this whole thing is, there's a simple thing that I always believe in. Whatever happens, in the world, is happening according to God's will, or you may say a superpower, or somebody else. So I read this very compelling, powerful statement from a monk. His name is Sadhu J.P. Vaswani. He in his book he wrote, "Whatever happens because of God's will, and in God's will lies our highest good." So for me, the highest good, according to me, my plan was to be a great software engineer, but I failed miserably. But that kind of failure led me into something great. So if things in your life are going as per your plan, it is good. If things in your life are not going as per your plan, it is great. Because always remember, God is writing a phenomenal story for your life. So this is how, from one milestone to another, life kept on changing, life kept on transforming. But then one common element in all of these areas where I realized, if you want your startup, if you want your entrepreneurial journey, if you want your candidature to be famous, to be getting the right amount of dollar that it deserves, you need to be extremely good in marketing. And that's when we said, leave everything aside. Let's go out and build a company. Let's go out and build a platform that will do marketing like nobody else does. And that's how we started the whole journey of ThoughtFolks. ThoughtFolks today is a group company where ThoughtFolks has multiple entities, digital, institute, media, and all of that. But I mean, we have respective CEOs running those companies. But what we did in ThoughtFolks was very transformational. We said, "Hey, you know what? We want to go work with startups. You don't have money to spend on marketing? Great, we will do it for you. You do not want to spend on your ad? We will do it for you. And in return, you don't have to pay me unless you start signing up customers or you have a great exit. Once you get your customers is when you pay me my share of money, or when you have an exit, you pay me, either through equity or in whatever form you can. When I started this, when we started this as a group company, people thought we were crazy. People said, this guy has lost his mind, because back then the history was we were serving Starbucks, Nike, Harley Davidson, you name a brand, we were serving them. And then from there we said, okay, we leave all of that, we want to work with startups. But then in probably 18 to 24 months time, it proved that the model was phenomenal. I mean, maybe we are working with 25 startups, 20 of them will fail. I mean, they will probably never see a daylight. They will never realize the payment. They'll never get to their first paying customer. But the 5 startups that we believed in kind of went out, raised Series A, Series B, Series C, that had phenomenal exit. And the amount of billing that we made from that one customer would probably take care of the other 20 customers who never paid. So the bottom line was, how do we do world-class marketing? How do we do marketing where you don't spend a lot of money? How do you do marketing where you don't, invest millions of dollars and yet have phenomenal returns? So we experimented this for almost 24 months. And that's also time when I joined a very good friend of mine, Srinivas Arsada, where we were kind of building, the mission was to build world's phenomenally respected employee-centric company that is producing great products and platforms. So I joined him as a CMO, and then we said, let's do all these experiments that we did in startup in an enterprise and see how it works. And it worked phenomenally well. So what we realized was, there are these set of, I call them commandments, but there are these set of frameworks that kind of works, whether you are a startup, you are a mid-sized company, you are a large enterprise, you are a medical practitioner, you are a farmer, you are an agriculture scientist, you are a personal branding guru. No matter who you are, these are those set of commandments. These are those set of, frameworks that will help you, break the ceiling when you do it right. So once we did all of that, we said, you know what, now is the right time to go out and tell the story. And that's when, world was hit by the pandemic, and, the whole world was talking about lockdown. How do I do? So the way our friends Yash and empowerment team said, when the world is cribbing and crying about lockdown, let me start empowerment talks, took a bold step, started this in April. And, today you see, they have gone places. And I thought, while we are in lockdown, I'm doing everything online. So whatever time I'm left with, why don't I start writing the story of how growth marketing actually happened? And when we did that, the original idea was to just create a, ebook, right? I was too lazy to write, reams of content. But then as I kept writing, I started getting more examples. I wanted to quote some of the examples, new frameworks, new methodologies. And that it turned out that we kind of already crossed 200 odd pages. And then we said, why don't we go out and publish? And then we published this as a book. And once, the book was picked up and people started reading it, CEOs of multi-million dollar companies to the entrepreneurs, they read it, they started giving feedback. And then it eventually went out, becoming the national bestseller last month. So basically that book is nothing but it is a manual of all the experiments we did on growth marketing in helping entrepreneurs and companies on how to do great marketing while you're not spending too much money, not having too many agencies, not having too many, ad budget and all of that. How can you still do a fabulous job? So that's what the book is all about. So that is a little background about how the book came into life, the whole journey, importance of marketing, and why marketing should be taken seriously by entrepreneurs. I'm sorry, I think I took a lot of time, but that's the story.
No problem, Raghav. But you actually gave us a very holistic approach of your life and how you went about dealing with each and every challenge that you had, and then you scaled it up. Then you had exits from your startups, and you came across and the challenges that you faced. That even if you even when you were becoming bigger, the challenges were coming different. So you have the challenges coming up from politicians. You have the challenges that you never thought of when you were building the product. But as you kind of grown on expanding yourself, those all things come up now. Straight away, I'll ask you the first question. You mentioned about the highs and the lows, and like the low first was not having those customers, and you built up that great product. Uh, And a lot of things that has been taught to us in the universities or to everybody else that has been told about is, if you have a good product, the customer will find you, or you have, and a lot of the focus goes on building that product, building that USP, or unique selling potential, or minimum viable product, and all sort of things. And the marketing is kind of treated as a parameter that will be happening on a later stage when we have a good. So what do you want to tell to those people here who are entrepreneurs, who are going to be watching us on YouTube as well, that how important on a scale of 10, if you would say, is product, and on a scale of 10, marketing?
So that's a very good question, right? Yes, I mean it's I wouldn't exactly say chicken and egg story, but we are almost at the same point where, do I build a world class product first and go do marketing, or do I start marketing and then get customers and then go back and build? I'll answer this question in two parts and also give you an example, right? For you to be successful as an entrepreneur, building a world class product is an hygiene. I mean, don't even think about marketing will help you if you have a crappy product, right? If you have a product that doesn't serve the purpose, if you have a product that is not adding significant value to your end customers, you're not even eligible to be there in the business, because today it's all value. Every single dollar that is paid, they want to see what value you're delivering. So number one, having a phenomenal product is a hygiene, and you need to make sure that you're focusing tremendously on the product engineering. That's given. But the challenge is, what most of the entrepreneurs do is, we spend a lot of time on product engineering, building that world-class product, building that final product to go to the market, and then think about sales, marketing, and all of that. Trust me, guys, there is nothing called a perfect product. Even Google keeps all their products in beta for probably 5+ years before they launch it, because there is a constant improvement that is needed. There is a continuous process of improving, making it better, that is needed before you go to market. So A, building product is important, but B, the day you envision you want to build a product, you want to build a service, you want to build a platform, start with an end in the mind. I am going to build a product that is going to disrupt the whole cell phone market. I'm going to build a product that is going to disrupt the whole social media platforms. The moment you have end in the mind, start planning your marketing campaign, start engaging customers, start doing beta, get some of your friends, bring them, on board, saying, hey, I'm building this product. Why don't you test it? Why don't you help me understand if this product is good? So for me, the marketing should be born the day your product idea is born. There is no exception there, right? I will give you a famous example. I am extremely moved by the lives of legendaries like Steve Jobs, the likes of Elon Musk, right? What do you call Steve Jobs? Do you call him a great product engineer? You call him a great marketeer, right?
Marketing.
Yeah. So he is an unparalleled marketeer the world has seen. People used to literally wait for an iPhone launch, for an iPad launch, for an iPod launch. When Steve Jobs used to get on the stage, he would set the whole world on fire, right? So
That was one day before yesterday, right? That September 15 was the, like, he didn't do it, but somebody else did. But still, there is this hype about it.
exactly, right? So today, these are the world-class marketing companies selling products, right? If you look at Apple as an example, they are unparalleled marketing company, just that they are selling products. They are selling iPhones, they are selling iPads.
Plus, the USP being they sell the product on a very higher price model as well. Price value is so high, but still it getting sold. That's
Absolutely. So you nailed it, right? You get your marketing strategy right, you can demand the premium. You look at Harley Davidson, you look at Nike, you look at Apple, you look at all these products. I mean, I have a huge amount of respect for all these brands, only because they know what they are worth and they demand that premium. And you look at all their marketing campaigns, they have one thing in common, right? Their marketing campaigns are a league apart, right? They are not a Me Too campaign. They are something that sets a new standard, a new bar in the market. So the answer is yes, you need to build a great product, but make sure that your marketing is born on the same day your product is born. And number two, make sure that the marketing team is in the driving seat. Marketing should never be in a navigator seat. Your product should not tell how you market. Your marketing story should tell how your product is bought. So These are some
That's a
takeaways.
very valid point made, Raghav, in terms of how the departments works in our organizations as well. And the marketing was at a navigator's team, but I think in the recent past they have actually went into front and they kind of drive it. Now, just to break it down for the audience, so marketing as an industry has changed a lot because of the users or the consumers have changed a lot because consumers have more become digital. So the whole marketing became digital. Previously, there was still TV is there because TV was one of the areas and advertisements and all these things. Now, what do you think about somebody who is running not a digital business but a local shop or something like that, and he has no idea how to do about going those digital marketing and all sort of things? And I'm asking this question specifically to the youth segment of society, that Indian society where they are, and they're still skeptical about those digital marketing campaigns for them. How do you go about communicating to those people that this is what the near future is and this is what it will be?
So, I mean, it's a great question, right? Because I mean, if you look at countries like India and Africa as an economy, um, major chunk of our economy still comes from the brick and mortar business. Major chunk of our GDP is driven from these mom and pop stores that are
Yeah.
not very sophisticated, where they don't have a large digital engine, right? But having said that, today there are multiple touch points for a customer, which you may not call it digital, but it is still a digital aspect, right? So let me tell you, we work with a very unique store. It is basically basically a CSR initiative that we've been helping, where there are women in tier 2 and tier 3 villages, rural parts of India, where they are doing weavings of, it's a handloom business. And they don't even have a website, they don't even have a social media page, right? And for us, the original thought we had, or the business plan that their sponsor had, was, why don't we open like chain of stores across multiple tier 1 cities, and then lease this space, put up the hoardings, and then kind of make sure we spend a lot on all of these, and then the business will come. When they invited me, I said, let's disrupt the whole model, right? You are talking about empowering women who are in the rural areas, who are doing a lot of handlooms and weaving and all of that. So they have great margins, they have like a 50-60% margin. But if you start going and opening these stores in tier 1 cities, metro cities, start putting out hoardings, you're squeezing out all their margins on your marketing budget. And the whole intent is to make sure that the money reaches to them, so that you improve their lifestyle. So what we said is, again, this is very, very traditional way of doing marketing. Word of mouth is the way of doing it, right? And today, word of mouth is WhatsApps of the world, right? The I mean, this thing in your hand is the most powerful tool that any organization has today, right? All you need is a cell phone. So what we did is, we said, what are the top 2-3 things that people will need in any business, right? Whether I'm creating garments, whether I'm creating leather shoes, or I'm building supercomputers, or I'm building software. One thing that I would need is social proof that these products are good and they are viable. So we said, let's create those proof points. So we did not hire any super expensive models. We hired people who are actually producing it. Number one, we made the whole story of behind the scenes of how these garments are produced, their lives, and how it is impacting their life. Number one. Number two, we created customer testimonial, where people came on video and said, hey, you know what, I bought these the Burberrys of the world, where I spent $5,000 buying this, and here I bought the garment that is done by these rural women. Maybe the product is not, I'm not comparing apple to apple, but this is still great. And while I wear this, I am having a satisfaction that I'm touching the lives of these people. So we did these videos, and then we got on to word of mouth marketing on WhatsApp. We just said, let's start creating these micro influencers who will start pushing this content across different WhatsApp groups, different channels. And then what happened was phenomenal. There was huge amount of support, that people started rallying, saying, hey, you know what, we want to support you, we want to help you. There were users who created social media pages saying, I have got this content, I have heard about this great garment industry that is run by these tier 2 city women, and I want to help them. And then it kind of started spreading as a wildfire. In a span of 24 months, in a span of 2 years, from the time we started to now, it's a multi-million-dollar conglomerate, which is kind of today empowering 600 women across 21 villages. So if you go to YouTube and search for Asia INC 500 and look at the impact we have created in India and Bhutan, it is a great marketing story. And these women today are enjoying being an entrepreneur in their own right, and they are kind of earning great livelihood just by the power of marketing, right? We didn't spend a dollar. It was all organic. It was all using, started with WhatsApp, then Instagram, then Facebook, and today we have kind of captured all the channels. So somewhere you start with one digital channel and then start amplifying it. But irrespective of the channel, number one, you need to have great content. Number two, you need to have social proof, which is customer testimonial. And number three, you need to talk about your product benefits. If you have these three, irrespective of what channel you choose, it will be a blockbuster.
That's a very valid point made, and like huge support to you. Like I can clap it from here. That's what I can do. The amount of impact that the marketing that you guys did and actually bring about that change into the lives of those women. Now, again, a very basic question, but I just want to pour it out over here.
So
A normal, just a brick and mortar business relates everything to the amount of money coming in through. If he's saying, I'm paying you 10,000 rupees to do my digital marketing, I should get a return of that. And generally, the monetization aspect of that comes a bit late. Like, you kept on spending some money initially, and they kept on spending, but they are just building those pages. The follow count is increasing, but there's no sales happening through that. What do you say to those business owners who are into brick and mortar business? They're running a business, but the sales are not coming. So it is only for the presence they have made those pages, but they're not able to get those leads and sales, or your customer is not walking through the door because of that. And it takes time. How do you go about clarifying this thing to those people?
so Yashwant, this is where I'll go a little rogue, right? I'll tell you some of the hacks that probably people may laugh about, but this is something that'll work. 100 years ago it worked, and it'll continue to work 100 years from now. Irrespective of country, right? Whether it is India, whether it is China, United States, UK, one thing that people always would love to know is are they benefiting something free of cost, right? If I pay you $10,000 and you hand over a watch or a garment to me, it's a straightforward transaction. So first thing that every brick and mortar organization that should do when they are like embarking their baby steps on digital platforms, whether it is Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, start with giving away, right? I mean, this has two meanings, right? Two connotations. One, philosophically, from an Eastern philosophy, it has always been said that give, and things will come back to you, right? Same thing applies to business, and that's what we also did. Give away, right? I'm not saying start distributing your product for free, right? Give them a trial version. Give them, they need to get the taste and hang of your product before they start investing in you. So I'll tell you some baby steps that really worked well, right? We were working with an organic farming agency, which kind of worked with smallhold organic farmers, procured all of that, and then helped consumers buy it. And they said, like you rightly said, Raghav, if I want to invest 5,000 rupees on Facebook ads, I want to be 100% sure that I get 10,000 rupees out of it. And then I said, let's disrupt the model, right? I said, let's go back to the whiteboard. I said, let's do this. Let's spend 5,000 rupees a month on your Facebook page where there is a definite call to action, right? I mean, this is the statement we need to underline. Doesn't matter what campaign you run, you need to have a definite call to action, right? Either it is visit my store, call my sales, try my product, or one of those, right? You cannot just leave an open-ended statement saying, hey, I am running a, from the farm to pan store, here is my details and here are some pictures. That will never convert. For a sale to convert, you need to have a call to action. So what we did is we said, let's do a wonderful Wednesday, a campaign where we said, every Wednesday, we want to give away probably one kilogram of carrot or 1 kilogram of brinjal free of cost for the first 10 customers who visit and who buy at least 3 products from our store, right? That kind of, the moment you say I am giving away something, people will at least read through your whole page. They will say, okay, I want to know what is in there, right? So it doesn't matter. I mean, today we have best of the cars. I have best of everything, but still, when I want to go back and let's say I want to go out and buy an Audi, I would still ask him, what is the offer for the month? What is it you're going to give me? for free, apart from everything else that is bundled with the car, right? Whether you're buying a $1 million car or you're buying a $10,000 machine, you would still want to know what is add in there. So first thing you should do as a small hold business person is start giving away something for free. And this free is nothing but it is a bait that you are putting for your prospective customers to read your post, to click on it, to visit your store, to start. So when we did that, the business owner was extremely unhappy. He said, dude, one, you are getting me a lot of traction, but you are throwing away things for free, because now I am compelled to give those freebies to people who visit my store. And there are people who just walked in and bought, $2 worth of stuff and got a $5 worth of free gift. I said, that's fine. The whole idea for any small business is to quickly get to a level where you have huge amount of footfall. It can be a footfall in your store or on your online. How do I take it from 2,000 users to 25,000 users who will eventually buy something from me, right? So once that happened, then there is a snowball effect, right? These users will go out and tell your stories. They will say, this is a phenomenal store, great customer service, great products. I loved buying it, go ahead and buy it. So that's something that we need to do. I mean, quickly, even if you're failing, fail fast, but ideate a model, give value upfront, and then talk about what you want to gain. Don't talk about, I will gain first and then give something to you. That is something that will always work.
That's a very, very well point made. And the giveaways, and I can see it now when you say it, I can go back and relate to it that, okay, this website used to do that, this store used to use that. And now because we know the other side of the story. Now, speaking about other side of the story. So as of now, we have been speaking about me, myself as being an entrepreneur, me, myself being that business owner or running that brick mortar store. Now, being raised up in a middle class family in India, I've always seen that as a consumer, you always see that, okay, he's saying sale up to 70%, or he's saying something. So there is a bait in that. So it's like, normal language, like pagal bana raha hai. So when you, as a consumer, how can you be more precautious about you don't fall into that bait that you guys are putting it for us to come in and, get in.
Yes, that's a tough question. You're telling me, A, tell me the secret, and B, tell me how do I not fall for the secret that you just told me?
Because we run both lives, right? It's not about just we are consumers also, and we are promoters also. And I just want to make you vulnerable somewhere.
So, so one thing is we need to get it very, very loud and clear in life, right? There is this very famous saying, I don't know who said it, but there are no free lunches in life. Absolutely no free lunches, right? I'm sure this story might have kind of made rounds in WhatsApp, but I'll take quick 30 seconds to tell you. So there was this wonderful couple in the city of Mumbai who were very good, both husband and wife, working for a multinational company, earning 7-digit salary, enjoying a lavish life, had all the good cars, all the goodness. They went to a mall and the mall said, hey, here is a lucky dip, just put your business card and we will tell you if you have won something. We will tell you if you have got some, you got lucky and you have won some award. So they put in their business card, and with their business card, one day they got a call saying, hey guys, you have won a fully paid lunch in the Taj Land's End, which is a great, hotel in Mumbai. And for the guys in Dubai and everybody who comes to Mumbai, I mean, you should probably experience it by the sea. So they said, here is a fully paid lunch buffet for both of you on the Saturday afternoon, just because you gave your business cards. And people, like, all the time fell for it. They said, oh, wow, somebody offering us a 7-star meal fully paid, though they were easily being able, I mean, they could afford it. They said, since we are getting it for free, let's go for it. They went, they had a lavish lunch. It was by the sea, 2 hours of buffet, relaxing by the sea, had a coffee because they also gave a complimentary coffee, had all of that, came back home from 4 hours, boom, all the precious jewelry, everything from their home is gone. So the lesson is no free lunches, my friend. I mean, if somebody is telling you, I'm going to pay you for a lunch in Taj, which means they have a much larger ROI. I mean, this is on a lighter side, but I mean, these kind of things happen all the time. But every time if somebody says, I'm giving you a 70% off on the MRP, one quick litmus test is just go back to the market and see how much is the competitor, immediately next competitor or the next good product offering you, right? So that is called the next best offer, NBO. So just go and compare. If somebody is selling you a watch for 10,000 rupees and the next person is selling it for a lakh, you need to be extremely cautious. There's something absolutely wrong there, because nobody wants to give away things for free. So then what you do is you say, okay, if this is really free, then here is what I want to do. Here is what I want to kind of understand, right? Why are you giving it to me for free? There are cases where you genuinely are a thought leader and people are giving it because they want to sign you on as an ambassador, as a consultant or whatever. But other than that, if there is a free, refrain from using it. And if you're still tempted to buy it, just do a trial, right? If somebody is saying, I am giving you a Burberry shirt for 500 rupees, which originally costs 10,000 rupees, don't go and buy 25 shirts, because you never know what is in there. Go get one shirt, see what it is, and then realize, okay, you know what? This is not working, so let me leave it. So marketeers like us are always there to create these free offers, but consumers need to be very well aware of not falling for it. So in India, there is a famous ad that plays on television channel which says, Jago Grahak Jago. So I think that's what we need to do.
Again, that's a very good point made, that we will be cautious, but we always are on the other side of the story as well. Now, you made a very career switch. So you were a software engineer, and then you thought about coming into marketing and all sort of thing. Now, being into marketing field for, I think, a decade now, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I feel old when I say that, but yeah, it's been more than a decade. Yeah.
It's been a decade now. How would you say to people that marketing is, how much is brain and how much is tools? Because I am pretty much worried about the tools, but is it brains or is it the tools? And what is the ratio of that? Because a lot of people are entering or venturing into those segments of setting up a digital marketing or taking those courses and learning those tools, but you can get those tools, but your brain aspect is very much important there as well. So how much would you say the percentage of that in the segment that you are into?
So, so let me tell you, right? So this is a question that is very close to my heart. Um, so I mean, after doing my PhD, one other thing that I kind of do is whenever I have time, I go back to colleges, universities, and teach. The only reason I teach is because I feel young and vibrant among those, the crowd and the mind, right? I mean, the young minds, ignited minds. So I feel nice. So they always ask me this question, right? Because people feel that, digital marketing is an easy career. Let me kind of learn some tools, learn some quick digital marketing or LinkedIn marketing, and then go out and make some money. So the fact about marketing is this: marketing has three aspects to it. It has a brain, it has a heart, and then it has a tools, right? You need brain because you want to make sure that you tailor the right campaign for your customer. You need to use the brain because you want to make sure that you're doing your segmentation right, you're doing your positioning right, you're doing all of that right. That's where you need to use your brain. So that is a quintessential thing if you want to be a great marketeer or a marketing organization. You need a heart because when you work with large brands, when we work with Nike, when we work with Harley Davidson, you would not believe, just for one model to create one positioning statement, we spent almost 3 months, 18 hours of an effort, right? Just 4 words in a positioning statement. And we had to kind of do, undo, do, undo,
What
do,
is
undo. So
positioning statement for somebody like me to know? What is positioning statement? Is it like the tagline?
sure. So positioning statement is something, right? I mean, you heard of elevator pitch. Elevator pitch is when you get into an elevator, you should be able to explain your whole business
Yeah,
in 30 seconds from the time
yeah,
you start to ground floor to the third floor.
yeah.
Assuming that you are meeting somebody when he's on his way out of a room and you're getting in, you have 5 seconds. What would you talk about your business? What are the 3 or 4 things that you describe that tells what your elevator pitch is, or that your positioning about your business is all about? For example, if I say empowerment talk, my positioning statement or my tagline would be, innovate, inspire, ignite. That's it, right? And that kind of conveys what business we are in, what we do, and how we help people and things like that. So that's the positioning statement. So for that, your brain should never be used. You should work from your heart because you want to understand what my buyer is going to think, and then start working in that direction, right? Because selling is all emotional game, right? Whether you're selling a bike, you're selling a car, you're selling a house, you're selling a candidature, you're convincing a girl to go on a date with you, which is you're selling your profile. No matter what you're selling, it's all emotional, and you need to appeal to your buyer. So that's where you need to use your heart. When you have the right place of right amount of brain and heart, The third most important thing in marketing is your tools, right? Now, again, tools, the whole MarTech landscape, right? The whole marketing technology landscape is so wide. Today, if I want to do some kind of ads on LinkedIn, there are probably 30 different platforms that says, I am the most efficient way that you can, bid for ads or buy users, right?
True.
So
All this lockdown, we have searched for so many courses to learn so many things. I don't know what we have learned.
absolutely right. So then it comes about which is the tool that works the best for you and your demographics, right? Let's say I am Empowerment Talk is a platform that is catered for the Middle Eastern market. You know, A, my primary audience is everybody in Dubai, plus B, my audience are all over the world, right? What tool will work in my market versus what will work in rest of the world, right? Probably I would use Twitter to reaching out to massive audience all over the world. I would use more of Instagram because that's more popular in the UAE. But then I would go out and do something else. I would do Snapchat in China because China doesn't allow my Twitter, my Facebook, and all these posts to go there. So I will use my Snapchat as a channel. So your tool has to be the combination of your target market, your target audience, and your budget. So once you have this taken care, I think you have nailed your marketing mix.
I think you have very well briefed out and segmented out in three things like brain, heart, and tools. And I think a lot of person like me, they just focus on tools, and we just think these tools keeps on changing so much that
Yes.
we're like, okay, what to do of this now? There would be any other thing. Now, for someone like this will be my last question at 8 o'clock, and for someone like a new business owner or a startup entrepreneur, how important is to have those? So being a founder or co-founder, if you don't have that marketing thing in you, so is it better to go it and outsource it to agency or to hire a resource in-house? Because in-house resources still people are very about when it comes to hiring a CMO rather than going it and doing it in outsourcing thing. And being you yourself as CMO, you would be the best person for me to ask you like, what
Yeah.
exactly does CMO does?
Right. So very valid question, yes. And you know, if I have to give a short answer, then I would say go and outsource it to thought folks. But yeah, just kidding. So the whole reason why we started in the digital marketing space is because 90% of the agencies who claim they are great are either bluffing you or they're trying to make more money on you because it's no rocket science, right? And today, I'm sure when you go to your LinkedIn, you would be constantly spammed by these people saying, "Hey, we can get you like 100 leads at a $200 rate. I can get you more B2B engagements. I can get you more buyers. I can get you Instagram followers." So all of that is crap. Don't fall for any of those, right? Number one, if you are a founder, I mean, since I've been like founder 3 times in my career and being an entrepreneur, I'm telling you, right from being an office boy and cleaning your office, all the way to taking the most complex decision, you should be hands-on in everything, right? Before I was an entrepreneur, I never knew anything about HR. I didn't know about the aspects of managing a human capital. I didn't know a lot of things about recruitment. I did not know about finance. I didn't know about bookkeeping. I didn't know about sales. But what I did is I made sure that I start reading books. I started taking courses. I start engaging with influencers and asking them questions. But I kind of learned all the basics right? So what I would suggest is, especially when it comes to marketing, make sure that you have hang of all the basics, right? Which means what are the right digital channels for you? What should be your right marketing strategy? What should be your channel where you would spend your dollars on? All of that you need to master it. Once you have done that, start looking out for genuine agencies or genuine marketing outfits that have helped startups in the past, right? Because 90% of the people out there are just waiting for you to spend your dollars so that they can take your money and run. So
No,
before
but
you onboard any agency,
how do
do a
you
thorough due diligence, right?
how do you go about finding that genuine figure? Like I am having a conversation with you, so it develops a relationship, and then I go about becoming a client of thought folks, let's say. But there are many people like thought folks who are pitching to me, or who are, and the point that you mentioned, that the ratio is so high, that 90% to a 10%. Is there some tools that a local business owner or a startup entrepreneur can find out about the marketing agencies, that this is what they're good at? Because everybody would have their portfolio right away in front of us.
Yeah, so that's a very brilliant question, right? So for me, the easiest hack is look at who your best competitor is using, right? Look at them, and then see if if they are doing it justice. Just have a coffee with them. Say, hey, I want to work with you. I want to see how you work. Before you make a buying decision, always challenge them, saying, hey, are you willing to do my contract on outcome based? I'm willing to spend $100,000. I'm willing to spend $1 million. But for me to do that, I want you to guarantee certain deliverables. Are you willing to work? 90% of filtrations happen there, because people will say, hey, you know what? I cannot guarantee you outcomes. You pay me the dollars, give me the retainer, and I'll see what best I can do. If any agency or any marketing firm says, I cannot do outcome based, they're not the right agency for you. I mean, just drop them. And like I said, if your closest competition who is selling 10 times more than what you're selling, go talk to that agency. There is no harm, right? There are multiple advantages of it. A, because they have already taken all the pain of learning and understanding the customer psyche, understanding the positioning and doing it. Now, because you're walking into that agency, for them to get you up to speed, it is like a cakewalk. So try and see if you can kind of work with them, but make sure that the legal aspects are very well taken care, right? In terms of agreements and confidentiality and all of that. And the last thing that you would want to do is probably hire more interns than the CMOs first, because interns come with a lot of innovation. Try to do few in-house things. Try to do it. Try to fail. When you reach a critical mass where you feel that, okay, now I have arrived and I have done so many things, is when you start hiring senior folks. But most of the times, marketing is not a rocket science. Hire a lot of interns, give them the right directions, and you will see a lot of things happen. So I think those will be my tips, Yash.
Thank you very much. But that's so two things that are very so what your competitor is doing. That is one of the things you find out. And okay, if he can do it, I can do it for sure. And then obviously you get to have a lot of experience of that company that can obviously do a huge value add. So thank you very much, Raghav, for a wonderful Q&A session. Just the last one. What was your experience and feeling coming to this show and having this conversation with me, and some beautiful words for Empowerment Talks?
Oh, absolutely. Right. It was phenomenal. I mean, for me, right from the time I remember, Yash, when we connected on LinkedIn and we started saying, hey, why don't we do this gig together? I've been thrilled. The amount of work you're doing, right? Let's say whether it's a 5 a.m. club, which everybody, right? I mean, today you look at these corporate gurus, whether it is Robin Sharma, Anthony Robbins, Richard Branson. You take any of these guys, who's who in the world, they say 5 a.m. club is a no nonsense. I mean, you got to be there to be at your peak performance. So you guys are doing phenomenally well there. So I mean, obviously it was a great experience talking to all of you, catching up with all these wonderful entrepreneurs, listeners on YouTube, on all the channels. And like I said, I'm happy to help. I mean, any way we can help, we can add value. I mean, suggest, help, recommend, direct you to some agencies that can help you. All of that, happy to help. But most importantly, the announcement that we were waiting for, the end of the show, is I wanted to really give back, right? I mean, God has been kind, and we have made like phenomenal amount of success we have experienced in terms of wealth, name, brand, all of that. So now is the time where we want to really help entrepreneurs. So you can note down the email ID. It is Unleashing Growth. That's the title of my book, Unleashing Growth, one word, @gmail.com. Feel free to send out an email, with a small 1 or 2 paragraphs about your startup and what you're doing, what stage of growth you are in, and all of that, and tell us why you need a free copy of the ebook or the physical book to be shipped to you. And the first 50 emails that we get with a subject line Empowerment Talks will get the copy of the book. If you are in India, in the Asian subcontinent, there is a free shipping for us, so we can kind of go ahead and ship you the physical copy. Or if you're from UAE, UK, US, any other part of the world, we are happy to send you the Kindle or the ebook version of it, so that you get to read, you get to learn, and you get to implement it, right? What can be more satisfying for me than entrepreneurs reading the book and experiencing phenomenal growth? So please drop in a note, and we will be happy to give away those books.
So it is Unleashing Growth at gmail.com. I put it in the chat box. Just check it out if it's correct.
That's right.
Okay, and the subject is Empowerment Talks, and then you go about writing those story about your startup or the business or whatever if you have existing businesses. So I'll drop in the comments in the YouTube as well for the audience to send out the invitation to the mail to Raghav and Raghav's team. And thank you very much, Raghav, for giving the giveaways to our audience. Obviously, it's a huge gesture from your side, and I particularly enjoyed having conversation with you on the show. So for all the YouTube viewers who are viewing us right now, do subscribe to our YouTube channel right now, because these are daily conversations that will bring the changes into your life. Thank you very much for watching us on YouTube.